What's up everybody, Silver here with another Halo Master Chief Collection Achievement Guide. This time we're doing Askar, which is in Halo 3, beat the par score on the level The Storm. So start up that. You could do it on any difficulty, but I recommend doing either on Heroic or on Legendary. Obviously, the higher the difficulty, the more points you get for each kill, so the higher the better. But when you first start off, open up this door and hop back into Hog. You saw I grabbed that guy's BR because who wants an AR? You could actually jump up and activate this switch through the wall here. You're going to see for a split second it says hold whatever button to activate it, and you could activate it through the wall, so that's cool. And at this point I like to drive through and try to splatter those enemies. There was one grunt throwing a grenade at me though, so I couldn't really do that, or else I would have been stuck, which is no good. So I just drove off to the left and my gunner took out a couple people. And if you're in the Warthog driving it while your gunner kills people, you actually get those points, so that's good. And at this point, I'm going to drive right through this door and try to splatter as many of the brutes as possible. There's 3 brutes in this section. Make the brutes the priority because obviously once those guys are dead, there's less fire coming in towards you, and the grunts and jackals like to freak out and run around like they're doing right now. And then I like to drive back and forth a couple times and splatter some people as I go. Again, your gunner will take out some people for you, and that is good because you get those points, so it's not like he's stealing your kills or anything. And then hop out and grab a plasma pistol, so you have a BR and plasma pistol, and we're going to get into one of these ghosts and open that door, of course, and speed on through. So we're going to go to the left. There's going to be 1 brute and 4 grunts. Obviously you want to splatter all of them, but if you can only get one, get the brute because he's the biggest, baddest one of them all. So I got him, and that made all the other grunts freak out, and they are now suicide grunting at me. So I'm going to take them out, shoot him in the face with the battle rifle, and you want to try to noob combo this brute up on top here. He has a brute shot. You don't have to necessarily kill him first, but he is the one who could do the most damage to you. So headshot the grunts, headshot the jackals. You could shoot them in the notch, and that gets them to expose their heads sometimes. Sometimes it is a little annoying and finicky, especially if you have some skulls on, like Tilt or Mythic, which I do have on some skulls. I'll talk about those in a second, but you want to grab the missile pod up here and just lock on to that anti-air wraith, and then you can move on to the next section. So then I'm just going to make my way over there. And I guess I will talk about some of the skulls I have on. I'm on Heroic, by the way. I'm not doing it on Legendary. A lot of the par score guides of mine are on Legendary, but some of you requested I do some Heroic par scores, so I'm going to do that here. And I am doing that here. It is in progress. You can see it right here. But I have Mythic, Tough Luck, Thunderstorm, and Tilt on. I don't have Catch on, which I normally do just because you drive through and splatter a lot of people in this segment. So obviously that would highly increase the risk of you getting stuck if you're just driving straight at people. So I took that off for the time being. But you're going to come upon this wraith and you could just noob combo him. Well, not noob combo entirely, you just plasma pistol him with an overcharged plasma pistol burst, and that will stun him so he cannot move for a little bit. So you can see I stunned him a couple times to make sure he did not get back up and into the fight, and then I just boarded him in the back. If you board him in the front, the gunner on the front could actually keep shooting you, so you want to try to board him from the back if you can and just beat the crap out of him until he explodes. And then I just ran past a bunch of enemies there. I jumped up on some debris, whatever it is, and then I can jump up onto that catwalk and go to this section. You actually want to open the door before you come into where I am. I don't know why, I just totally forgot about that. You gotta open the door, so I'm going back right here. But that'll give us time to talk about skulls, I guess. Mythic obviously just doubles the health of all the enemies, so that's a way to get your score up. Any skull you put on, aside from the 3 silver skulls, do increase your score, so that's a way to make up for the fact that it's not on Legendary. Tough Luck is on, which means enemies will dodge out of the way of grenades that you throw, or plasma pistol overcharge bursts, or if you try to splatter them, they'll try to dive out of the way as well. So it makes it tougher to do all those things. And Thunderstorm is on, so it promotes a lot of the enemies, and also Tilt enhances the strength and weaknesses of the weapons. So normally human weapons are great against health and not shielding, and plasma weapons are the opposite of that. They're great against shielding and not health. So that is just enhanced with the Tilt skull on. So once you get over here, you want to drive immediately towards this missile pod and just hop on it and take out that anti-air wraith as quickly as possible. You can see he's a ton of points, just like the previous one we took out was as well. So when you get to this section, you want to take out that wraith like I mentioned, but then you want to prioritize the ghosts first and then the choppers. I know it seems like you should do the choppers first because they're potentially more damaging, but the ghosts actually take you out pretty quickly, and they're much more accurate than the choppers. The choppers tend to be more wobbly, and I can't really describe it. They're much more fishtaily, so they're often not actually even looking at you, so they can't shoot at you if they're not looking at you, and that way it makes the ghosts much more accurate, at least when they're in the hands of the enemy AI here. So you want to take out the ghost first. If they start shooting at you, you want to just kind of get off of it, like you'll notice I do a couple times here, because they could kill you really, really quickly. So do that, especially if you're on a higher difficulty like heroic or legendary. And you want to prioritize the ghosts first. You can see I'm getting my missile pod shots rejected from that big beam out there, blocking my shots. But just keep at it. You have infinite ammo, obviously, in these things. So, and lastly, you want to prioritize the Banshees. The Banshees usually will not shoot at you, so they're pretty much a bonus kill if you do end up killing one of them. You don't actually have to kill any Banshees in this section, but you do have to clear out all the other guys down there. So, and here comes some more Phantoms with some more Ghosts. This is going to be the last wave of Ghosts that we'll have to deal with. You can see you can take out some of the armaments on the Phantom itself, so that's a good way to get some more points. You can take out the turret on the front that is kind of an automatic turret, and then the one that is being manned by the grunts on the sides can also be taken out, so you can get some points there. You can see I backed off of the missile pod like I mentioned I would do a couple times, and I tried to shoot them in the head, which is pretty tough to shoot a grunt out of a ghost, especially when they're not kind of presenting their flank to you. So you gotta kind of shoot over the top, which is pretty tough. So you can see I failed at that, but I just hop back on the missile pod and take them out that way, so no big deal. So after all of those enemies are dead, we are going to get off the missile pod and take this grav lift, which is always just there by default. It spawns there. So grab that. I exchanged my bubble shield for it, and you could just exchange whatever you have for it, obviously. And I like to look around and grab a fresh plasma pistol, or at least one that's been slightly less used that a grunt was wielding in the ghosts. And I found one there, luckily, and then we just climb up to the top of this structure here and wait for the scarab to come in, and we could actually get on top of it with the grav lift very quickly and easily. So just keep your eye on the top of this building I'm looking at. That is where the scarab is going to come into this section from, and I'm going to deploy the grav lift once I see him starting to climb over there. I can see his legs coming over, so I deploy the grav lift. You don't want to deploy it too early, because then it will run out, but it will uncrouch, and then you count 1,000 and jump up and towards the scarab, and you will get up there. Normally I land on the scarab's head rather than one of the kind of walkway type things on the side that lead up to the top of the scarab. But this whole jump is actually easier than it looks. It looked like it might be a little tough, but it's actually not too bad. I usually hit the jump. I actually made the jump on my first several attempts, so it's not too bad at all. But you can see I'm just taking out all the enemies on the top here. I have a noob combo, so it's easy to take them out. Just overcharge plasma pistol them, which breaks their shield, and then you can just shoot them in the head with the battle rifle. You don't have to take them all out, but I decided to because they were all kind of mostly congregated in the back, so they were kind of in my way in regards to going to the back here and taking the scarab down, so decided I should probably just kill them all instead of trying to squeak by them and damage the back here. But you could grab one of these turrets on the side actually and just go to town on the back of it. It's a pretty good way to take them out. And then you can just jump down and run for your life. So follow this path roughly, just get away from the scarab basically, because if you're too close to it while it blows up, you will die along with it. And we're just going to go to the next section, and I will talk about the par time bonus. Obviously, this is going for par score, but your time is actually tied to your score as well, which is weird, and that's not the case in the original Halo 3, but in this version, it is the case. So take that into account. If you take way too long, you'll get a 1 times multiplier, which we know 1 times anything is whatever that anything was. So if you finish with a score of 14,000, you'll get a 1 times multiplier and finish with 14,000, so that's not cool. The maximum time multiplier you could get is 3 times, so if you finish with 14,000 and you get a 3 times multiplier, you will get 42,000, so that's pretty good. The par score threshold for this level is 15,000, so obviously 42,000 would be more than enough. So we come upon this section, there's a ton of brutes here, but just jump up on top of this crate and jump through the glass there. It just breaks upon you touching it, or you can shoot it out if you want. There's a bunch of BR ammo here to replenish your stock. And then you could run around the crates here. Sometimes the brutes are looking at you here, sometimes they're not. If they are, you could just go to town, noob comboing them. Get some more points, why not? That guy dodged out of the way, not cool. You could always stick them, and obviously that will kill most of them. If you have Tilt and Mythic on, it may not kill them, because obviously that replenishes, or not replenishes, it increases their health. So if it's a higher brute rank, it may not kill them, but it's a good way to kill the weaker ones. I'm going to run by all of these guys. You could decide to just run by them to begin with if they're not all looking at you, kind of like they were here for me, and then you want to wrap around and follow this path. We're kind of circling around the whole room there. There's a bunch of brutes killing a bunch of construction workers. So go over here. There's going to be 2 hunters that come into this room. So I'm going to jump up on top here. You could actually just go over to where I'm going to go immediately. I figured I may lead the hunters in here and then be able to just move on to the next section. But once I started shooting at people over in the next section, the hunters just followed me back over there. So that didn't work as well as I intended it to, but it's alright. It's going to work out just fine here. So the hunters are almost both entirely in the room here, which is good. So I'm just going to run over here. This is where you could just go immediately instead of waiting for the hunters to go in the room. Like I said, once I started shooting the enemies up front here, they just followed me back here. So it's not like I gave them the slip or anything. So there's going to be some brutes over here. There's going to be some grunts as well. You should probably prioritize the grunts. I just got really excited about being able to kill the brutes real quick, and I ended up not killing them quick at all, so it didn't really matter. So once you kill enough enemies here, the brute chieftain and everyone else will retreat back to a section further away in the level. Kind of, it's not really a hallway, but it kind of seems like a hallway because it's kind of a narrow pass up there. So they're going to retreat into that narrow pass even further once you kill enough people. So we are trying to do that now. Looks like they're starting to move away. Yeah, they're all going back to the right over there. So that's where we want them to be. So all the grunts and brutes have retreated, and now there's these 2 hunters that remain that we got to deal with. So I'm just going to, well, it looks like I'm going to take out some more grunts for no reason. I guess I get more points by doing this, but you don't need to do this at all. You could just skip this. I was just having a little bit of fun, I think, which is not, you know, something that you need to do at all. And that didn't even do anything to the hunter. It looks like I probably just hit the window, the bottom of the window, while trying to shoot that, and whoa boy, he sees me. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. I got my points up a little bit, but it's pretty useless because I already have enough points. So I'm going to go over here, back to where the hunters came into the room initially, and I'm just going to try to get them to follow me. If I just try to do this skip I'm going to do with the hunters over there, they'll just probably end up killing me because I'm going to be running in a straight line away from them, so that makes it really easy for them to shoot and kill me. So I'm going to try to avoid that. I kind of brought them towards this section over here, and you want to make sure that they don't see you. So stay to the left so they don't see you, and go through this door, jump up on top here. You may need to crouch jump, fall down onto this thing, jump up here again, run along here, and as soon as you see yourself start to fall down, just crouch jump up and over and out of the map. So now we are pretty much done with this whole level. We have to do 3 really easy things to complete this level. So just go over here. The first thing is we need to go to this section. Just follow this path. You're going to see it's going to say loading, and loading done, and then a checkpoint. Very good. That is the first of 3 things we got to do. Then we're just going to make our way over here. By doing this, we have despawned all of the enemies up here. Or actually, we never actually spawned them at all. So I guess that's what despawning is just never spawning them. So we're just going to jump over this giant hole. Do not try to walk over that. You cannot walk over it. You have to jump over it. And at this point, it doesn't matter what weapons you have, because we're going to go up and to the left and grab some spike rifles in this crate up here. So there are 2. Grab 1, grab 2, and we are going to go under this big cannon thing, anti-air cannon. And we're just going to wait for it to open up. Just unleash all the spike rifle rounds you can into that. It will blow up and pieces will fall away like that. And we are done with step 2 of 3. And now we just have to run back through the level. Not all the way, don't worry. Just to where we would spawn people. There's 2 conditions that need to be met for this level to end. One is the last wave of enemies needs to be spawned in, which we are meeting that requirement right now by going up here. And 2, the anti-air tank thing, whatever, gun has to be blown up. So we kind of did it in reverse. We spawned the enemies in after killing the gun first, so it just ends the level right when those enemies spawn in. But that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Click like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Follow me on Twitter at HaloCompletion, and I'll see you later for more Halo achievements.